from VOA Learning English. This is the education report. Many Syrians are trying to study overseas while civil war continues in their country. Thousands of Syrian university students sought help when they learned there was money to help them continue their education. Lynn Al-Zabak is with Zusor, an organization for Syrians living overseas. Zusor joined with the American-based Institute of International Education to create the Syria Consortium for Higher Education in Crisis. More than 40 universities in the United States and Europe agreed to provide emergency aid to Syrian students and professors. Each university decides which students to accept. Universities in the consortium are supporting 70 students right now. One member of the consortium is American University in Washington. It is supporting a Syrian graduate student and a faculty member in the University School of International Service. Daniela Kais is a vice president of the Institute of International Education. She expects there will be 8 opportunities for 600 Syrian students during the next few months. She notes that a former president of Portugal, Jorge Sampaio, launched the scholarship programs called the Global Platform for Syrian students. He created the programs because of Portugal's history of educating Jewish refugee children during World War II. The Institute of International Education also has a scholar rescue fund for university professors and researchers in any countries in crisis. This year, the fund found places for 30 Syrian scholars in 5 countries. All of the scholarship programs may be found online at iie.org. For VOA Learning English, I'm Alex Villarreal. From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. Kid Pen Alley is a non-profit organization that holds songwriting workshops for students across the United States. The organization recently visited a school in the Anacostia area of Washington. The children presented a concert with the help of songwriter and recording artist Paul Reisler. He established Kid Pen Alley in 1999. Since then, he has worked with more than 35,000 students and produced more than 2,200 songs. He says the power of music can teach children skills they might not learn in school. He believes the American educational system is focused too much on standardized tests designed to measure knowledge. But Paul Reisler says we now live in a creative economy. He says his group is trying to inspire children to be creative. At our elementary school in Anacostia, 95% of students come from poor families. Marlon Ray is the school's dean of students. He says some of the children have difficult lives, but he says these kids still want to strive for greatness. Jana Turner is director of programs at the school. She says the 4th and 5th grade students are often focused on more than school. Some have to help their families or live in homeless shelters. A shooting took place in April directly in front of the school. No one was injured, but the incident affected the whole community. Students are often influenced by what happens around them. Still, all elementary school has a positive, hopeful atmosphere. Marlon Ray says the workshop and concert made possible by Kid Pen Alley created good memories that will last for years. For VOA Learning English, I'm Laura Bowman. From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. The United Nations Children's Fund is appealing to international donors to help provide education money for Syrian school children. Safe places to learn, teachers and supplies are all lacking, and almost 2 million young Syrian students have dropped out of school. UNICEF says about 40% of students from grades 1 to 9 across the nation no longer attend formal classes. UNICEF spokeswoman Mauricio Mercado says about half of those children are now refugees in Lebanon, Jordan, Iraq, and Turkey. In the northern city of Aleppo, for example, only 6% of children of school age are in classrooms. But the school year there and in other locations began as planned on September 15. Talk of a military strike by the United States has caused uncertainty about starting classes. But schools opened after a strike appear less likely. Still, many children who once walked to school are now taken there by their parents, and other families have simply left the country. Lebanon now is trying to help about 550,000 school-age Syrian refugee children. UNICEF says the Lebanese public education system can take care of 300,000 Lebanese children. UNICEF is establishing schools for refugee children in buses. In Jordan, UNICEF says about two-thirds of the 150,000 Syrian school-age children are not in school. In Iraq, UNICEF says 9 out of 10 Syrian refugee children are out of school. Inside Syria, Ms. Mercado says the educational system has been torn apart. Both UNICEF and the Syrian government say about 3,000 schools have been damaged or destroyed. For VOA Learning English, I'm Alice Villarreal. From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. Imagine you are a student in Mexico and your teacher asks you to write a report about the country's ancient Aztec civilization. You now can do your own research on the subject through the World Digital Library or WDL. One of the 8,000 items listed on this website is a general history of the things of New Spain. It was written in the 16th century by a member of a Roman Catholic religious order. Friar Bernardino Sahagún lived in what is now Mexico. He liked many qualities of the Aztecs and wrote 13 books about them in Spanish and Nahuatl, the Aztec language. The books are stored in Florence, Italy, but you can read every page and see every picture with the World Digital Library. The library has a list one item from every member country of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO. UNESCO and the U.S. Library of Congress launched the WDL in 2009. Since then, more than 25 million people have visited part of the collection. The libraries provides free access to thousands of objects of cultural and historical importance. The library is looking for information about Arabic and Islamic science, says Musa Marawa. He is a WDL researcher who works on all of the library's documents in Arabic. Mr. Marawa says the library shows the United States as a partner with Arab countries in an area other than military or security matters. The library also is helping countries make electronic copies of their documents so that they are available to computer users around the world. For VOA Learning English, I'm Caroline Bersuti. From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. South Africa has 11 official languages. If you want to say hello, it's Sabona in Zulu and hello in Afrikaans. Now, South African school children may start using ni hao to say hello. The country's education ministry hopes to add Mandarin language classes in some schools. Mandarin is the official spoken language of China. That country is a major trading power for South Africa. The two countries recently signed an agreement that identifies the 5 areas of cooperation. They include curriculum development, mathematics and science, teacher training, and research and development in basic education. South African officials have not said how much the Mandarin language classes will cost. Joy Martens works for the Ministry of Basic Education. She says the new partnership is extremely valuable to both sides. The part of the plan that has gained the most attention is a proposal to offer Mandarin classes in schools. Last year, a public opinion survey showed that South Africans have mixed feelings about China. It found that 46% of South Africans do not like the spread of Chinese ideas and customs in their country. And 60% of South Africans said they dislike Chinese music, movies and television. But Ms. Martin says trying with China is more important than those feelings. She says it is extremely helpful for South African students to learn about the Mandarin language and Chinese culture. And she said not every school will offer the language training. South African census officials have not said how many native Chinese speakers there are in the country. For VOA Learning English, I'm Alex Villarreal.